Welcome to AITA Betrayal Stories. I opened my dream restaurant and invited my entire family to the grand opening. Not one of them came. They all went to Ethan's promotion party instead, a backyard barbecue with plastic chairs and lukewarm beer, while I stood alone in a candlelit dining room, waiting. As I closed up, wiping down untouched tables and folding napkins no one had used, Dad finally texted, "We need to discuss the restaurant. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 34. And if you think you know how this story ends, stay tuned." What do you do when the people you fed your dreams to only show up when there's something left to eat? The kitchen still smelled of garlic and rosemary. The handwritten menu cards I'd spent hours creating were stacked neatly at the host stand. And the playlist, the one filled with songs from my childhood, kept looping on empty speakers. I stared at my phone. No calls, no "sorry, we're running late," no flowers, not even from Mom, just Ethan's Instagram story. Promotion party vibes, bottles popping, my entire family in the background laughing, dancing, holding a cake that read "to bigger things." I had built something from nothing. They didn't just miss it. They ignored it. So when Dad texted, I didn't ask what he wanted to discuss. I knew. He was worried about the money he assumed he'd get, the family tab, the unspoken discount he thought he'd earned just by sharing my last name. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed one sentence that would rewrite the rules forever. Effective immediately, the restaurant is closed to all family. No reservations, no discounts, no exceptions. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up. 19 missed calls and a knock at the back kitchen door. It was Ethan. Of course it was. He stood there in a tailored blazer, smelling of too much cologne and not enough guilt. In his hand, a box of leftover cake. "Figured you'd want a slice," he said, trying to smile like nothing had happened. I didn't answer. Didn't move. "Look, Jules," he tried again. "We didn't think the opening was that big a deal. Dad said it was just a soft launch." I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. "You went to his party, Ethan, not mine." I sent invitations by hand. I texted Mom 3 times. "I made your favorite lemon tart, and it sat untouched for 5 hours." He looked down at the cake. "People got busy." "No," I said softly but sharply. "People got lazy. They thought I'd always be the backup plan." I walked past him, tossing the trash bag I'd been carrying into the dumpster. "Jules, come on." It's not that deep, but it was. It had always been deep, from the way Dad introduced me as the artsy one, to how Mom compared my restaurant dream to Ethan's exiting job. They wanted me small so they wouldn't have to explain me. Ethan followed me back to the door. "I think Dad wants to invest now. He sees potential. He asked me to talk to you. There it was. The real reason. Not guilt. Not support. Just business." "Tell Dad the restaurant's fully funded," I said calmly. "And the investor bought exclusive rights to my loyalty." Ethan blinked. "What does that mean?" I smiled. "It means you're late. And I don't do leftovers." I walked back inside and locked the door behind me. On the other side, I could hear him breathing, then walking away. The next day, I changed the locks. Not just at the restaurant, but at my apartment too. I'd spent years letting my family treat my space like a revolving door. "Jules, we need a place to crash. Can we store this here for a few weeks? Can I borrow your car just till Monday?" And every time I'd said yes. Because saying no made me feel selfish. Because somewhere deep down, I thought being useful was the same as being loved. But love doesn't flake on your life's biggest moment. Love doesn't shrug off your invitations. Love shows up. So I made it official. A sign on the restaurant door read, "Dear customers, due to overwhelming support, we're transitioning to reservations only. No walk-ins accepted, even if we share DNA." By noon, it was on local foodie blogs. By evening, it went viral. The photo of me in my white apron, arms crossed, standing in front of that handwritten sign hit a nerve. Comments flooded in. "This woman is my hero. Boundaries taste better than betrayal. Tell Ethan to eat a slice of humble pie." Meanwhile, my phone buzzed nonstop. Mom called 5 times, left one voicemail. Emily, this is childish. We're family. We made a mistake. But this public tantrum is making things worse. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the front door to a couple holding hands, tourists from Georgia. We saw you online, the woman smiled. We canceled our other reservation just to eat here. As I led them to their table, I caught my reflection in the front window. I didn't look bitter. I didn't look angry. I looked free, and behind me the restaurant buzzed with laughter, clinking forks, and second chances I chose, not ones I was forced to give. 2 days later, Dad showed up. Not at the restaurant. He wouldn't risk the cameras or another headline. He walked up to my apartment. Emily opened the door. He said, "Let's be adults about this." I watched him through the peephole. Suit jacket a little rumpled, eyes drained. He looked like someone losing control of a story he'd always assumed he'd finish. "I'll be brief," he said. "Your mother's upset." Ethan's confused. "We all are." I opened the door but didn't move aside. "You want to talk? Talk here?" He let out a long sigh. "This is ridiculous. We're not enemies." "No. You're the people who remember I exist only when I'm paying or cooking." He flinched. "I was going to help you," he said softly. "I was looking into some financing." "You mean you wanted equity?" I asked. "Control," he corrected. My father's face tightened. "Don't be paranoid," he muttered. I reached behind me, grabbed the manila envelope that had been waiting on the console, and slid it across. "Here, the deed. The restaurant is in my name. The LLC, the patents, the recipes, all mine." He blinked. "You got a lawyer?" "I've got a team," I said. Funny what happens when you stop waiting for permission to shine. Dad stared at the floor, then said quietly, "We just wanted you to succeed." "No. You wanted me to stay small. Manageable." He had no answer. As he walked out, he warned, "This will come back to bite you, Jules. You're burning bridges." I nodded, steady. "Then I guess I'll learn to swim." I shut the door, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I needed their name to matter. My name, Emily Carter, finally carried weight. By that evening, I had a dozen new reservation requests and one message from Ethan. They're planning something. Be careful. I didn't twitch. Let them plan. I already was. The first sign was a bad Yelp review. Then another. Then 6 more, all within an hour. Each read the same. Food was cold, staff were rude, owners stared like we didn't belong. Only problem, none of those names were on the reservation list. And we never had cold food. I knew exactly what this was. Ethan's message pulsed in my head. A smear campaign. 1-star warfare. Digital vandalism that leaves no fingerprints, only poison. I didn't panic. I prepared. I called my lawyer. I also reached out to a regular, a reporter who once wrote a piece called "The Restaurant with a Soul." After she read the reviews, she said, "I think someone's targeting you. Want to go on record?" I said yes. By morning, the article ran, "Beneath the Apron Strings, How a Rising Chef Fought Back Against Family Sabotage." It wasn't revenge. It was the truth. The story included screenshots, timestamps, contradictions, even a quote from a staff member. Her dad had come in last week and threatened to buy out her lease if she didn't come to her senses. By noon, the piece had momentum. People flooded the comments in my defense. Imagine being so threatened by your daughter's success. Families like that make fighters. She's not the black sheep. She's the phoenix. That night, a woman slipped into the restaurant and whispered, "They tried to break you." "I came to tip you $1,000 just for standing up," I cried in the walk-in fridge, not from weakness, but from relief. For once, I wasn't alone. The world saw what they did, and people chose me. The next visit that mattered wasn't a customer. It was Ethan's fiancée, Chloe. She arrived during closing. No reservation, just a fragile smile and a shaking phone. "Can I talk to you?" she asked. "Please, just a minute." I almost told her to leave, but something in her eyes, guilt, maybe fear, kept me there. She sat opposite me in the last booth, fingers wrapped around a coffee cup I didn't pour. "I didn't know," she whispered. I didn't know how far they were going. She told me about a WhatsApp group. My mom, Ethan, Aunt Karen, even cousin Alex. They called it Project Reset. The plan was to pressure me into selling or to sabotage the place until I failed. I didn't flinch. I already suspected as much. Chloe's voice broke. Ethan said they were trying to bring you back to reality. But after the article went viral, everything blew up. Mom blamed Ethan. Ethan blamed Dad. It's chaos now. I listened. My chest felt tight, but my resolve didn't. They had tried to script my ending. Instead, I'd rewritten the opening. I leaned back, watching her. "Why are you telling me this?" She looked down, ashamed. "Because they dragged me into it. And because I can't marry someone who treats his sister like that." She slid her phone across the table. Screenshots, messages, voice notes, proof. I stared at them. Names, dates, plans. Chloe cleared her throat. "If you want to go public, you have my blessing." I didn't respond. Not yet. Revenge wasn't about noise. It was about timing. This wasn't about getting even. This was about getting free. I looked her in the eye. "Thank you," I said. "You just gave me everything I needed." And I meant it. Sometimes the last card you need comes from someone ready to walk away. 2. The headlines broke at 9:12 a.m. Chef Emily Carter's family caught plotting to sabotage her career. Leaked messages confirm I hadn't spoken to the press. I didn't need to. Chloe had leaked the messages herself, posting them with a single caption. "I won't be marrying into this family." It exploded. Screenshots from the Projector Reset group chat revealed everything. She's too full of herself. Cut her supplier discount. Make her beg to come back. The backlash was instant. Supporters of the restaurant flooded social media with "Rock or Stand with Emily." People who had been silent, old friends, high school classmates, former coworkers, all spoke up. She was always the one carrying everyone. They used her until she had nothing left. This is why she shines. She fought alone. By noon, my reservation list was booked for 6 weeks. At 2 p.m., my landlord called. "Emily, I'm extending your lease 5 years. Rent locked. You're the pride of this street." At 3:17 p.m., Ethan texted, "I didn't know Mom saved that stuff." I'm sorry I didn't respond. I was prepping dinner service, folding napkins, tasting sauce, straightening a crooked picture on the wall. At 5 p.m., a woman walked in wearing a navy blazer and red lipstick. "I'm from the Food Chronicle," she said. "We're doing a feature, 10 chefs who survived the fire." "You're our cover." "Cover," she smiled. "You're not just a chef. You're a revolution." That night, after the last dish was plated and the lights dimmed, I stood barefoot in the empty dining room, wine glass in hand. The air wasn't heavy anymore. It was clear, and tomorrow I'd start planning something bigger. Because the best revenge wasn't survival. It was success, seasoned with silence. The invitation arrived exactly 1 year later. Gold foil, scripted lettering. A crest I knew too well. "You are cordially invited to Ethan and Madison's engagement brunch." I laughed. The same family who had locked me out of celebrations was now asking me to join their curated photo op, hoping I'd post something nice to help their image. I dropped the invitation into the blender. Then I opened my laptop and finalized a deal. I'd been negotiating for months. Emily's table, my second location. This one sat inside a historic brick building downtown. Exposed beams, a rooftop garden, a kitchen twice the size of the first. I hired my staff from overlooked places, culinary grads with no connections, single moms rebuilding, quiet dreamers who never got a chance. We built something sacred, not just a restaurant, but a space where dignity was on the menu. As I stepped outside for the ribbon cutting, a crowd had gathered. The same journalist from the first article stood there, mic in hand. "What would you say to your family now?" she asked. I smiled, a slow, soft, "Nothing." They had asked for explanations, apologies, second chances. I gave them silence. They didn't need answers. They needed accountability. And I had nothing left to prove. Later that evening, I stood in the new kitchen, apron dusted with flour, hands in dough. My staff buzzed behind me. Laughter, chopping, the low hum of hope. Then came the moment that changed everything. A woman walked in alone, nervous. "I saw your story," she said. "My daughter wants to be a chef. She's afraid she won't be good enough." I handed her a menu. "Tell her this," I said. They told me the same thing.